Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the
Yeah,
Star
yeah,
Wars
yeah, yeah,
the Star Wars Spoilercast about the Force Awakens. I'm Derek. Hello, how are you? This is my good friend Tony. Say hello, Tony.
Hello, Tony.
Someone's out there listening named Tony, I'm sure.
Yeah,
We
that guy's a good guy.
not all Tonys are good guys, but
Nah, they're all great,
that's a
and
different
they fuck like a Greek god.
that's a different story for a different day. I won't bury the lead. We did one of these lovely little podcasts 2 days ago after the movie came out, 3 days ago, I guess now, Friday night. And
Yep.
my computer, lovely as it is, fucked it up and deleted that. So we're going to redo it, and we're going to tell you everything there is to know and our opinion about the new Star Wars movie, from the opening scroll and how that made us feel to the closing credits and how angry or excited we were at the end of that movie. So be prepared, strap in, full spoilers going in, balls deep. Just no turning back now.
They killed Chewbacca.
Yeah, that's not a real thing.
Uh,
Chewbacca does get shot. That is a true statement. But let's start at the top, show. Let's start at the beginning of the movie. The feelings that I had when the Lucasfilm logo flipped across, and the one a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I got goosebumps, man.
yeah, super big Star Wars fan, and I had like recently watched the original trilogy at my house, and so I was like, it wasn't nearly as nostalgic as if I had not seen any of it for many years, but yeah, you're absolutely right. That green kind of emeraldish logo comes across, and then long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Pretty dope.
I mean, and then it was just you wait for it, black screen, and then you hear the music pipe in, and the big Star Wars logo fills your screen, and
Right.
it was a momentous occasion, man. Like, I felt very, very nostalgic in that moment, especially, more so than throughout the entire movie, where there is a lot of nostalgia to it. I felt very nostalgic about that specific point in the movie.
Yep.
And you hit the scroll. Episode 7 tells you kind of the basis of what the movie is, and the plot to me, based on the scroll, was Luke's Luke's gone, and we're looking for him.
Yeah.
That's kind of the plot of the movie, I guess. If you look at
Which
the
was a
scroll.
big letdown. I
It
mean,
wasn't. It wasn't the movie at
that
all.
was oh great. Okay, yep. He
Yeah,
gone.
yeah. It doesn't. They spend 2.5 hours of not looking for Luke
I
Skywalker.
will say I was really happy in every Star Wars movie so far. It is you see Lucasfilms and then you have to listen to like 35 seconds of the 20th Century Fox bullshit, and now we don't have to do that. I was waiting for the Disney Castle, but that didn't happen either.
I just wanted a Marvel logo and like them scratching that out to become a Lucasfilm logo,
Oh man.
just to flex that Mickey Mouse nut a little harder.
Yeah,
Oh,
the scrolling was awesome,
yeah. I
but
mean,
the plot, you're like, oh god, this is underwhelming, right? And that was the first of a couple dozen direct correlations to the original movie.
well, I thought you were going to say a couple dozen letdowns, because there's those also. Like,
Oh
I
man, no
won't beat
doubt.
around the bush. There was a few letdowns in the entire movie too. But you see episode 7. They tell you what's going on, and they tell you, like, hey, the best starfighter pilot in the Resistance is going to go grab this piece of basically a map to find Luke Skywalker. And you open up on a desert planet.
Yep.
Stop me when it sounds familiar, with an old guy and somebody getting a piece of map, very reminiscent of not only Leia giving this piece of information to R2D2,
Right.
but also just the desert planet in general, obviously from Episode 4. So just you kick off the movie with nothing but Episode 4 related stuff. And I should say, they do show Finn first. Technically, they show the stormtroopers flying in. They do
Yeah.
show the black guy first, which is fine.
Reparations and all that back from the 70s.
Yeah, the roots. It's all a good thing. But the instantaneous feeling I got was, all right, we're getting a lot of homage in this movie, aren't we? It's going to be a lot of, hey,
Yep.
we got to pay our respects to the movies that came before us, Episode 4 specifically. And you got that feeling out of the gate, which I didn't mind actually throughout the entire movie. Really, I can't say the same for you.
Yeah, I mean, J.J. Abrams did not write this, and he wasn't like involved in the screenplay very much. But
He did a rewrite on it. He did the
oh, did he
rewrite.
really?
Yep, he did the
Yeah, I
rewrite
mean,
for Han's death.
oh, okay. Yeah, see, I was gonna say like he did the same kind of throwbacks in his couple Star Wars movies.
Star Trek.
Star Trek. That's what I just said.
Yep, I know what you meant. He did a rewrite, and that's how like apparently I was doing a bunch of research this last week or so. Just after I realized that our podcast. Hang on, give me 1 second.
Yep.
All right, we're back. Sorry, I had an injured child because she's trying to copy Big Sister and she cannot do the things Big Sister can.
Did she just get Han Solo'd?
she is still alive. She did not get Excalibur lightsaber through the chest. That is not a thing that happened to my child. She is still okay.
Yep.
So anyway, we're talking about the similarities between 4 and 7 and how you weren't a big fan of those.
I don't know that I wasn't necessarily a big fan. I thought it was cool to pay homage, but it got way too like belligerent about it.
Yeah, I agree. It felt almost that they needed to do it. I felt that JJ thought in the back of his mind that the only way he was going to win these people over that had such shitty feelings about the prequel movies is to basically make episode 4 again in 2015. And
well, I mean, it's not like it's a bad theory.
It's
one of the greatest sci-fi fantasy movies of all time, obviously, if not probably the best. But yeah, I mean, I would have personally taken a lot more like quirky jokes about the original trilogy than a whole bunch of super blatant throwbacks that tie into the entire movie.
Right. I mean, you have, like I said, you have the desert planet. You have the kid stranded that doesn't know his parents.
Yep.
You have the good fighter pilot, the pilot, just pilot in general, I guess.
Yep.
The big super weapon, which has a really stupid name this time. It's not the Death Star.
Star Destroyer.
Star Destroyer. What?
Yeah, pulled from the books for sure.
They built it into a planet, which is pretty bitchin', really.
Yep.
Like, that's pretty cool. It harnesses power from the sun. So the idea of it, how it works, is pretty cool. Just a real dumb name.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on with things that are the same from episode 4 to this.
Yep. The old scallywag dies.
Sure. Yep. The old guy dies. Yep. In fact, Han Solo does die. So let's talk about that for a second. Han Solo dying. I called that before we went to the movie, right? I said that I thought that Han needed to die. Han wanted to die. He fucking hates this movie series, as he did
right,
for a long time. And so I just thought Rey and Kylo Ren, the two R names, were going to be brother and sister. Now that could still be true. They could still be brother and sister. We don't know, but Ren for sure is Ben Solo.
Correct.
He is the biological son of Leia and Han Solo. And you find that out pretty early in the movie. I was looking at some time jumps as I was watching the movie a second time, and it's pretty quick that you learn that he's Solo's kids. So
Yeah, it was probably no more than a third of the way into the movie.
oh yeah, it was easy. 45 minutes into the movie, he was talking to
Right.
Snoke, and he said, "Hey, you know, the Millennium Falcon, piloted by your father," and people were like,
Oh,
"Oh
snap.
shit!"
Mic
Yeah.
drop.
So
Yeah, I think that there's definitely a possibility. We'll get into our theories about the individual characters, but there's a ton of connections between this movie and the original New Hope, but there's also like a ton of connections between the books, which are apparently non-canon, and some of the throwbacks into the movie. Like the Star Destroyer it's definitely plucked right out of the books, a series of books where there's a massive planet-sized spaceship, uh, space station that can destroy the world. Like books about that. I was really surprised though, given how big of a part Han Solo is in the original trilogy and how big of a part he is in the expanded universe books, that they killed him off like right away. But it seems like the general consensus among Star Wars fans is basically like he did not want to really even do this trilogy. So
right.
you know,
I think I alluded to it the last time, and that was, this is kind of the Bill Murray scenario where Bill Murray really wanted to do Ghostbusters 3, but only if he could die.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they were not fans of that option. I think from what I was reading, the original option was not to have him killed off, but in fact to have him alive, but in a very small role. And JJ rewrote it to a bigger role, but killed him off. And I think that's what brought Harrison Ford up. And I like the idea of having him there in a bigger role, a mentor role. I
yeah.
think his speech on the Millennium Falcon about how everything is real, that is very key to the movie. Watching it a second time, you pick up on those small things such as that. Like that very much drives Daisy Ridley Ray, her character, throughout the movie to be like, now that I know it's real, what's going on with me? Like something's going on, and that's right before they hit Maz, and that's right before she has that big flashback scenario. So,
Right.
so with that being said, I was okay with seeing him die. It was kind of emotional. Again, I don't know why it hit me, but it got me more goosebumps this time than it did the first time. But there was
No, not me.
way more tears the first time. Like there was a lot of people crying in that theater that first time.
Yeah, sure.
And I guess that's okay. I don't really understand why. Like, I mean, Han Solo is a very cool character.
Yep.
But I mean, the second you find out that it's Ben Solo as Kylo Ren, your guts got to tell you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, especially again if you're kind of going back towards the original,
Right.
the original New Hope, like that's kind of a deadpan giveaway. Plus, if I'm Han Solo and my ex-wife's upper lip like is stiff as a board, I don't want to live anymore, man.
It's still bad. It's still so bad.
She did not age well.
It sounds like she smoked 6 packs a day between the last 40 years, and then had super lipo, or I'm sorry, not lipo, but Botox on her lip, and she just, Han,
Yeah.
every time you leave, I still miss you.
Oh man.
Oh,
I hope they kill her off too.
if you see our son, bring him home. Bring him home. I'm gonna throw my other kid out because she just wants to play with Hard Enough throwing it downstairs, which is fantastic. So yeah, we'll go off on that tangent really quick. Who do you think your least favorite character of this movie was?
Oh man, I think by far Leia for sure.
It's gotta be Leia, which is so disappointing. But that drives home the fact that you didn't need her. If I have to say she's a bad character, she was on screen too much.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, she was so much better. I thought, which is crazy. I thought she was my favorite character probably in The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
She had a ton of dialogue. She was real great. They got rid of her stupid British accent from A New Hope, and it was way better. She's probably one of my favorite characters in Empire Strikes Back.
She's super, like her and Han stuff in Empire Strikes Back is just, it's spectacular.
Yeah,
the banter
absolutely.
between each other, it's great. And then you go from that to this, and I understand there's age, but damn, woman, damn.
Yeah, it didn't go good.
Nope, it didn't. It was my least favorite part of the entire movie. It's just
she's the one character that's returning that looks like not even the same as her original stuff.
Yeah, it looks real bad. Like even Mark Hamill, he puts on some weight, but motherfucker's still Mark Hamill. He's still the
Yeah,
Joker. He's
yeah.
still everything under the sun.
Got that badass goatee for the
That
last 90 seconds of the movie.
yeah, that beard for the last 90 seconds. Oh,
That's his that face he's making is the I just got caught jerking off face on top of a mountain.
on no
Cross
on,
it off your bucket list.
in front of a fucking grave, dude. It's definitely a grave. I was like hardcore examining it.
Was it?
Is it a grave? Like it's got the cross and like the circle around the cross. It's a total grave.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah, so I don't know who it is. Like, I don't, dude. I honestly like. Let's go aside here really quick. What do you think Jakku is? Do you think it's a new planet, or do you think maybe it's an old planet that just got desolated and became a desert wasteland?
Oh, I don't put too much stock in what it is. I mean, there are so many goddamn planets in the Star Wars universe and so many different galaxies, and they're traveling between all of them. Like, I don't know. Are you going to go off on some conspiracy theory that it's like Tatooine or some shit?
No, I think it's Hoth is what I think it is, which is really weird. But
oh, come on, man.
You have the AT-AT, you have the big ass Star Destroyer. She has a rebel helmet somehow. So like, there's obviously a battle waged there, but we don't have any history. So was there something that happened there that we didn't know about? And it is a decent planet, or is it?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, again, going back to the books, like not non-canon anymore, quote unquote non-canon. But like the Empire after Return of the Jedi, it actually got bigger. So even though Luke killed, the Emperor, or Darth Vader killed the Emperor or whatever, but it just got bigger. Like they had something like 600,000 or 700,000 Imperial Star Destroyers, like fucking huge ships across the galaxy. Like the Empire's, dude, it's fucking massive. So I don't know. I don't think it's Hoth. And plus, how would something so drastic happen in like?
I don't know. I was just like, that would be kind of nifty if that was what it was, because those are just simple things that I did love about that movie. Is that all right? She's hanging out, chilling in a Star Destroyer, checking out for parts, and then she lives inside of an AT-AT, and it's just cool. Like, it was just cool to me. And then like the Rebel helmet, I didn't really notice that the first time that's what she wears.
Yeah.
I was like, there had to be something here that happened, and I kind of want to know. Like, that intrigues me about that planet a little bit more.
I'm sure there's a lot of answers in the book. I mean, the Force Awakens book just recently came out, so maybe I'll have to pick that up and listen to it or read it. But so sticking to the script here, what was your favorite part of the entire movie?
There's a couple different really good parts.
Just go on your gut. One part. What was your favorite after just seeing it again tonight?
Sure. After just seeing it again tonight, I truly feel that Han Solo's death scene might now be my favorite part in that entire movie.
Ooh, okay.
I thought that, I thought before that it was maybe that lightsaber battle is pretty cool. And I need you to see it again, because they really do play up the fact that she has no skills whatsoever.
With the saber.
With the saber. Like, and I thought about it for a little bit, because I'm like, all right, we had this conversation. She has no idea what she's doing at all.
Yep.
But she does. You know why? Because what did she use as her primary weapon before?
Yeah, staff.
A bow staff.
Right.
A bow staff. It's kind of the same thing. You at least know the wrist motions of what you're doing. So, okay, I'll give her that she could probably swing a sword, a lightsaber. She's just not fluid enough to do it in a solid way. So I really do think that from him getting, him yelling Ben and then having their conversation, that was a really well executed scene. And it was easier to appreciate the lighting in that scene. My dad leans over and goes, dude, this is fucking great, because like, excellent. You have it. It's pitch black in there, right? It's dark as shit. And then the door opens up top where Rey and Finn just walk in. So now there's light because the sun is charging that cannon.
Right.
So it is now light in the center of this bridge where they go to have this conversation. Flip to the sun's going down, it gets dim, and it gets dark, and he's got red across his face right before he fucking stabs him. It's just a very well done scene, and I appreciated it a hell of a lot more tonight than I did when I first saw it. It was really, truly well done. Yeah,
I'll say this. I'll tell you my favorite part here in a second, but favorite part of the movie, I'll tell you in a second, but favorite thing about the movie, that what I really liked is how they redid the lightsabers. I didn't think about it when I first saw it, but then kind of going back and watching a couple clips, it's not just like a beam of energy, it's like a fucking flame, and it's pretty sweet. But I think my favorite part of the movie, all said and done after a couple days to kind of digest it, I think it's definitely when the very end, when Luke's there. Like, I just look at Luke and oh man, yeah, it just brings back. Luke is by far my favorite character in the Star Wars universe. He's so goddamn badass in the expanded universe, and I really hope that they don't pussify him in the movies. Like, he gets pretty uber powerful in the books, and I just want the next movie to be about him training Rey and just like being able to fucking move mountains and shit. You know what I mean? I need to move this mountain so I can get caught jerking off on top of it.
Yeah, oh, you see how this is all islands, like separated out by each other? Watch this. Just one continent, just fucking solid.
Definitely that powerful. But man, that has to be my favorite part. Just like the super big lead up. The movie's so good with some of the characters and like some of the scenes that you just forget that Luke hasn't been seen. And then it kind of gets to a point where at the end they show that map and they put that map together. The R2-D2 comes back alive, and then it's like, oh yeah, fuck, Luke's still not around. Where's he at? You know?
I mean, for me, I thought about that the entire time, just because that was a question going into this movie was, where's Luke? You know, He's not in the promotional material. He's not on he's not in the paperwork. He's not in the trailer. He's nowhere. Where's Luke? What's he doing? So, like, for me, I never let go of what was going on with him.
I think that's the biggest surprise about the movie too. Coming into it, you know, we didn't know what the movie was going to be about. We didn't know what the plot was. But I think for anybody that went to see it, I don't think anybody expected Luke not to fucking be in it.
Let's talk about this really quick, because I think we both felt not duped, but we both really thought that Finn was it. We thought that he was the
Jedi.
Yep, we both thought that going into this movie that he was going to be the Jedi. I mean, they showed him in the trailer with the lightsaber, which is a red herring. If you go back and watch it now, you understand. But it was absolutely. I thought that Finn was going to be something. Now the question is going to be, and you know, we'll get to this, but is he still something? But I really thought that Finn, a very cool character. I thought he was the Jedi, though. I really did.
Yeah, I don't think that he's going to end up being a Jedi. Like, why don't we just basically just jump into the theories about characters? We can start with Finn. I think he's that warrior type. He's probably no pun intended, the black sheep of the movie as compared to the original.
Sure,
he doesn't directly line up with really anybody else from the original trilogy. So I mean, Rhea is definitely Luke. Han is kind of like Ben Kenobi.
Just Rey. There's no A, just Rey.
Rey, okay, whatever, you know, what Daisy Ridley, totally boner, no big deal. But everybody kind of has somebody from the original movie, and Finn's kind of that outcast. So I don't know what's going to go on with him. I think he's really just a supporting role.
He could be, like you said before, he could kind of be the Chewbacca, maybe.
Yeah, what the original trilogy kind of lacked, that, again, go back to the books, what the original trilogy kind of lacked is that force sensitive character that didn't take the next step, because there's a ton of those in the book that have some sort of force sensitivity or like some sort of sixth sense, but they don't have what it takes to be a Jedi, you know what I mean? And maybe he's kind of that fills that gap.
I mean, he's kind of a pussy. I mean, to be really honest with you, like I understand that he didn't want to be a stormtrooper because you just don't want to mindlessly kill. But at the same time, I don't know that he's much of a defensive guy either. Like was forced into that, so I wouldn't necessarily count on him to be that guy. But I liked the overall acting in this movie. The movie is great. It really is. Now I know, other than Leia, I thought that Harrison Ford did a phenomenal job as Han Solo. I really thought that he played it as well as he could have. I know before, maybe you've thought about it and had a couple days to think about it. Before, you thought that maybe he was kind of sleepwalking through the last half of the movie. Yep. I really thought that he did a solid job.
Yeah, I don't think my opinions changed much about it. I think he's kind of phoning it in, and he's there to collect the check and close out his time as Han Solo. And you got to think, too, that, I mean, they're passing the torch. They're going to have a Han Solo series.
Solo movie.
Yeah,
Solo
exactly.
Movie.
Yeah, a Han Solo movie, exactly. Sounds like a porn, but they're going to have a Han movie, and it's not going to have Harrison Ford in it, you know, so I think he's kind of passing that torch and he's closing that chapter in his life as Harrison Ford. But definitely, I don't think that my opinions change. I think he kind of phoned it in. I think it was sort of a shitty performance overall. That's just kind of my opinion about it, especially compared to A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi.
See, that's when we start going two different scenarios. Like we don't want the movie to be so carbon copied that it feels like that, but then we start comparing the performances, and that's where I think everybody went wrong making this thing. Is they tried to be too much of something they weren't gonna be.
Yeah,
they tried to be Episode 4.
He plays that bitter old man really well, and that's just actually who he is. So
yeah,
not hard to play that. Right.
The humor in the movie for him is fantastic. A very simple joke in the movie. Maybe my favorite joke of the entire movie is when they get to the Not Hoth ice planet, where the super Star Destroyer or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And they're outside, and Chewbacca roars at him, and he goes, "You're cold." It's just so fucking simple, but man.
The joke about the joke about John Boyega Finn about working in the detention level and the sanitation level, that was pretty great.
That was good. Yeah, that whole
compactor. That's good. All right. Good. So what's your theory here on Kylo Ren? Is he really bad? Is he coming back to the light? What's the deal?
Yeah, so I think with Kylo, he killed his father, right? And that's fucking apparently dads are just not good in the Star Wars series. Like,
yeah,
fucking Anakin turns to the dark side. His dad wasn't even fucking around. Like, that didn't exist. Luke has to almost kill his dad. His dad cuts his fucking arm off. Like, it's just a bad scenario. It's like dads aren't played up very well. And and even with Han Solo, like, fucking Ben doesn't like his dad. He fucking kills him.
Yeah, not at all.
So I think with Kylo, he gets a good old slice on his face at the end of the movie from Miss Daisy Ridley, Miss Rey, and the big thing that going forward is he now has to complete his training. Right? Snoke says, "Bring him and complete his training." So to me, that means that he's shown enough willpower, strength to Snoke to. I don't know what to do with him. Maybe give him some Force lightning action. I don't know what the next step of the Jedi is. I guess I would defer to you in the book series. What was the really next step when it comes to a dark Jedi?
Yeah, premonitions and Force lightning is one thing that dark Jedis do. So that basically be it. A lot of it's all telekinetics, but maybe he learns how to shoot lightning like Palpatine or Count Dooku or something like that. His next step would be to be a Count Sith. Like, that's kind of the next progression through the hierarchy of a dark Jedi. But yeah, I guess my theory is pretty simple. I think that he will turn back to the light side. I think he probably gets killed in the next movie, and then that'd be my guess. And then Counts, whatever that guy's name, Snoke is like the main villain.
Snoke, yep, Snoke,
right?
Like Smoke, not Smoke, but Snoke. Yeah, I'm gonna jump in there really quick. So I had two theories the night that we saw it. One was through Episode 2, you see Daisy training and you see Kylo training, and that's kind of the big build-up, right? Like, that's your Rocky montage of Episode 2. And then you come to a head in Episode 3. You have Luke go head-to-head with Snoke, and you have Rey go head-to-head with Ren. And there's two ways that goes for me. Either Ren comes back to the light and sacrifices himself and dies.
All right.
For multiple reasons, one of which he killed his fucking dad.
Right.
Or he does come back and it's fine. Like, that's the light side. The other one is he just does not, and he ends up killing Luke somehow in that. So I think that it goes one way or the other. I lean more towards a solidified good side, just because that's the arc they set him up on. You start the movie with killing your dad, you end the movie with killing yourself based on the sacrifice, and that's kind of the Star Wars way, right? Like that's what you watch Vader do. And that's just very much the way that I see it going, is that he's going to come back, he's going to fight off Snoke, and then he's going to sacrifice himself in the end for the greater good. And you watch, Rey and Luke live happily ever after. So that's my theory on Kylo.
Okay, how about Rey? Is that's Luke's kid?
Yeah, Rey's definitely Luke's kid. I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea that she's just some random Force-sensitive person in the world, especially with that flashback scenario. I think it's way bigger. In the flashback scenario, you see Rey going through a couple different Luke memories. She hears Yoda, she hears Darth Vader, she hears Luke himself and Obi-Wan.
Right.
You see the flashback scenario of what looks to be Kylo's uprising of being a bad guy, killing all the other Jedis, but stopping somebody from killing her. And then you see somebody dropping her off, and like not just leaving her to die, like literally leaving her in the hands of someone to take care of her. I think she's somebody important. I don't like the fact that we don't know, but I'm excited to find out who it is. And I truly do think, and this plays into the books, right? I do think that she's Luke's kid. And like I said, I think you have some book knowledge to go along with that theory.
Well, Luke never had a kid in the books.
He did have a wife, though, right?
He did have a wife. Her name's Mara Jade. She was an agent for Emperor Palpatine. Long story there. She was an assassin that turned back to the light. But I think there's a couple different things that go on in my head. One is that in the books, Han and Leia have 2 kids, Jace and Jaina. Jace definitely follows that Kylo Ren trek where he is super powerful and he flirts with the dark side. And in the books, he goes blind. So in the movie, Kylo got slashed in the face, but in the books, Jace goes blind, and then Jaina is. Jaina also kind of follows Rey's path. She's force sensitive and she's a pretty decent Jedi, but she's a super badass fighter pilot. So I don't know, man. Like I could get behind the idea that it's Han and Leia's daughter. I'd find it very hard that there wasn't some clue that I picked up on in the movie that they kind of foreshadowed that. But on the flip side, I think, I don't know, Leia wasn't very force sensitive. She's not that great at the force. And so how the fuck does
Skywalker last name? She didn't even keep the Skywalker last name. Like she knew she's a Skywalker,
right.
Knows that she was adopted as an Organa, keeps Organa.
Yeah. What? Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, in the books, if she has 2 pretty powerful kids, as far as the Force is concerned, I don't see why they couldn't do it in the movies. But I just don't know what the tie-in is back to Han and Leia if Rey's their kid. Flip side of that, is she Luke's kid? I mean, I could see that. I don't want Luke to have a kid just because I'm a Star Wars fan, and that's not what happens in the books. He's like a YOLO bachelor, no children. But I could see it. I would be disappointed if that was the case. I'd rather her have some other major story arc, and she's neither Han and Leia's kid nor Luke's kid. But
whose kid would she be at that point? Do you think Mace Windu's kid? Somehow just all white.
Mace Windu. No, I don't know. I don't really have any answer to that. I just don't really want it to be Luke's kid. I think that's way too cliche and too expected. Yeah. And I think that's what they want you to think. I think it's a bait.
And I hope so. I hope that it's a different reveal, but I think the bait and switch is going to be still disappointing because I think if it's not Luke's kid, it's Han and Leia's kid.
Right.
And I think that's why you see in that flashback scenario, if it is in fact what you see Kylo protect her and then possibly be the one to go dispose of her somewhere else because he didn't want to have to compete with, Snoke or compete with her for force sensibility and being a better Jedi and all that stuff. So that's very possible. I don't know, man. There's a lot of questions for Rey, but she was great. She's an excellent heroine. She's an excellent badass. She's a great, role model.
It's the
which
accent,
is something
man.
Yeah, she's just overall, she's great. And let me tell you, a really awesome scene, maybe my second favorite scene in that fucking movie, is the scene where the lightsaber's in the snow and she fucking pulls it to her. Like it gave me goosebumps again tonight. Yeah, it gave me goosebumps again tonight because I was like, she's fucking super powerful. And
right.
She has no idea how to utilize it. And
that alone
was like,
I don't know, man. Maybe there's some crazy theory that she goes dark and Kylo goes, I don't know.
Flippy floppy?
Yeah, maybe so. Kind of wrapping this up, a couple more points. We have to talk about Luke and what our theory is around him, and then I want to talk about where we think this movie stacks up with the other 6. So, Luke Skywalker. Here's my theory. I thought coming into the movie, he's a dark Jedi, kind of following right after Return of the Jedi in the books. He goes deep cover in the Empire, and he flirts with the dark side because he wants to understand the dark side so that he can teach how not to become a dark Jedi. So he kind of like goes borderline on the dark. And I thought, okay, coming in the movie, he's going to be a dark Jedi. And that didn't happen at all. He wasn't in the movie at all. So there's really no way to know what Luke's role is in the trilogy, but I think he's definitely going to be the master and going to train Rey next movie.
Yeah, he's the Yoda.
I think he's probably become fucking uber powerful, but the movie basically explains that he secludes himself because he's training Ben Solo, and Ben goes to the dark side. So he's like, fuck it, I can't live my life anymore. I gotta go be by myself. That didn't make sense to me. So I think there's something else going on there.
I think the piece that we miss is that he was training a whole group of Jedi, and Ben was just the one that turned and then kills all of the other ones because Darkseid doesn't need any more Jedi. So I think you can take
they didn't say that, but that would be the theory.
Right. In the flashback scenario with Rey, like you see all those dead bodies, posit that's the Jedis that he was training in the rain. And, you can deal with, you lost one guy to the dark side. Well, not only that, but he fucking murdered 30 kids and stole this other kid.
Yeah, I think that iconic like 5-second scene that we saw in the trailers and in that flashback where like Luke's hand comes up and touches R2. I think that's probably Luke coming back to the academy after Kylo just went on a fucking rampage.
Yeah, I agree. I think Luke is just stupid, wicked, powerful. I think you either time jump the next movie or you pick up and just go with a time loop or not a time loop, but just a stopgap of here's what's been happening. I could see a good time jump, whether it's a year or 2 years after the events of The Force Awakens, and you see Rey completing her training, just because, it's kind of cool to watch a little bit of the training scenario, but you don't want to watch it for 30, 45 minutes of a movie when you have that much stuff, that many questions that you posit in episode 7. You got to follow up with a few answers in episode 8, and you can't you can't spend most of your time training, especially if you see Kylo and Rey training the entire movie.
Whose grave is it then on the mountain?
I truly, truly have no idea. The only thing that I could think of is what you said. No. Vader was on Endor, man. He got burnt above ground in Endor. You're right. It's not Vader. Maybe that's his wife. Maybe it's Mara's grave, right? And that's where he goes to. Maybe that's where he goes to mourn every day because he failed not only her but his kid and all of these other Jedis and Ben. Like he failed bad. Yep. So he goes there to remind himself, to push himself that much harder, to push himself that much farther, to be that much of a better Jedi, and that's what that grave is. That's what I think it is.
Yeah, I could get down with that. I mean, Han and Leia didn't say anything about Luke getting married in the movie, and that doesn't necessarily mean anything, right? But the Jedi Order is like, if you were to take Star Wars and try to compare it to the actual world we live in, the Jedi as like a religious thing would be very close to Buddhism, and it's very common for Jedi to meditate for like an extremely long amount of time. Like Yoda meditated for like 50 years straight, like no problem. 50 years gone, and he just meditated, right? Yeah. So maybe Luke's out there solo and he's just meditating, but for the past fucking like 10 years or whatever it's been. But yeah, I could see that being his wife. I also had like a fading thought that it maybe is he had a kid and Kylo killed his kid. That was the one thing we talked about too.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very good scenario. And like I said, that's a possibility that, not only does Kylo kill, his wife, but he kills his kid. And then that's when Rey would be.
It could be Bruce Wayne.
It's probably Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, it could be Bruce Wayne.
It's probably just the Joker buried there so he could do, Luke Skywalker again.
Yeah, there you go.
Buried the Joker so he could do this.
It's where he buried all his Batman money.
Yeah, that's where it makes the most sense. What about Poe? I mean, I think
I don't even care about Poe.
Oh man, Poe's like he's so exciting.
Yeah, he's the underdog. I mean, like he's the Han Solo of this new trilogy, and I'm all about it. He's a funny dude.
He's so good.
I don't think that he's gonna be just like Han Solo. There's not gonna be major plot points. He'll probably fall in love with Rey, and that's it. Like to me, there's not much to talk about.
I think Finn and Rey are heading for a
Yeah, but you thought that about maybe Luke and Leia too in the original trilogy.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I don't think Finn and Rey are going to be
Finn and Rey
brothers
are
and sisters.
related.
Yeah.
I mean, FN 2178 isn't Mace Windu's kid. Also, that would just be way too big of a coincidence. That's
Mace
just
Windu.
too much at that point.
People like Mace Windu so much because it was Samuel L. Jackson, but he's kind of a fuck in the books, man. Dark side fucker. But so
Oh man,
this movie compared to last point we'll talk about this movie compared to the rest. For me, it falls right after A New Hope, right before Empire and Return of the Jedi, and then Empire. So like my official order is what the prequels pretty much like. So my favorite is Empire, then Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens, A New Hope, and then Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, and Phantom Menace. Yeah.
So I go 5. So I go Empire, A New Hope, 7, Force Awakens. Then I go Return.
Jeez.
And then I go 3, 2, 1.
Wow. Not a big fan of Boba Fett getting ate up, are you?
Like that, but I also don't like. I don't care for Endor. I think the speeder battles are cool, but I can't fucking stand the little furry animals. I can't even think what the fuck they're called. I hate them so much.
Ewoks. Utini.
Ewoks,
yeah.
Utini. Yeah, I can't stand these. I'm not a fan of that, like, at all. I can't stand them. So they're probably my least favorite part. Yeah, Return is fine, but yeah, this movie definitely cracks top 3. But I think we're set up for a solid next couple of movies, next actual entries, which are coming 2017, 2019.
Yep.
I'm really excited. The cast that they have, the stories that they're setting up, they're great. They didn't do a lot of payoff in this movie, and I can see why. They've got $4 billion to make up, but it also kind of hindered on me as why I didn't care for the movie as much as I could have. They could have taken more chance with the new characters. They could have left out the old characters, at least Han Solo and Leia, a little bit more. I mean, you can't really leave Luke Skywalker out more than you already did. That fucker was barely in the movie,
right?
It was just
there was just like $200,000 per second on screen.
I mean, at least that, if not more. I mean, he got paid a shit ton to grow that beard, I'm sure, and it probably took a little while. So yeah, I would give the movie an overall 7.5. My score hasn't changed after seeing it a second time. I enjoyed it more. The score is still the same, 7.5 for me.
Yep, and that's the thing we love about Star Wars is we can watch it and continue to enjoy it. 7 out of 10 was my initial thought immediately right after coming out of the movie, and that hasn't changed. The movie's great, acting's great, the character development sucks on some of the characters, and
super sucks.
Yeah, and I think honestly we'll appreciate that coming into the second movie, because that will probably be what a good chunk of the second movie is about with Rey and Poe and Finn. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm gonna try to get back out in theaters and maybe see it another time or two in the next couple weeks.
It'll be worthwhile. It's worthwhile to check out a second time, especially because you can just sit back and appreciate, from the lighting in that scene where Han dies to the lightsaber glow in the snow when they're having the snow battle, which it's exquisitely done. That lightsaber battle, it's very well. The whole movie, the cinematography wise, is great.
I can imagine that.
Slightly directed, I don't mind JJ, but the cinematography in that movie is on point. And just overall very, very well done. And I'm excited for the next movie. It's just not, I don't think it's balls to the wall as good as everyone thinks it is.
No, not at all.
So
not worthy of the 98% rating it's got on Rotten Tomatoes.
Is that what it's at on Rotten Tomatoes? 98%?
98%, dude.
Oh, that's no way, man. The movie's good. It's not that good. I told my dad, I'm like,
stupidly high.
That's insane. Like that's naivety. That is ignorance. That's negligence. That's a slap at God. That's blasphemous. Blasphemous. If George Lucas didn't like it that much, it shouldn't have that high of a rating.
No doubt, right?
You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, we're done here. I'm gonna go farm some blue milk and get some power converters at Tashi Station.
All right. Until next time, I guess, when we decide to talk about other movies, maybe, or talk about some more Star Wars in a couple years. For Tony, I am Derek. May the Force be around somewhere.
Yeah. May the Force be with you.
Bye.